So today is the last day of the presentations, right?
No, I know a couple more people will be doing theirs.
Oh, that's good. I was worried.
No worry.
This is my first one since, I just joined everything.
I have a question.
Anything to distract.
I think somebody has a question.
Yes.
Because we can't hear you.
Oh, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, I have a question. How do we prove that we came to the workshop?
Since I'm recording the workshop, I'll have everybody's names, and then I'll go ahead and submit a sheet for you guys.
Kevin.
Jeez, I have a lot of people joining. I didn't expect this.
Are you nervous?
Just a tad, because my PowerPoint is underwhelming. So.
Hello.
I'll start right now. But all right.
Brian, do you want us to have our cameras on?
No, it doesn't matter.
All right, cool.
You guys can do whatever you'd like. Only for you though, Javan. I need you to have it on. Just kidding.
No.
Hi, Javon.
Hi. I have no idea who said that.
It was
Kevin.
Kevin.
Oh, hi, Kevin.
I hope everybody's doing good. This is gonna be awkward for me at least, because there's a lot of people. But let's see.
All right. Can you see me now?
I do. Wow, a lot of people are joining. Wow, look at that. 24 people. 25 people.
Hola.
26 people. Oh my gosh. All right.
Popular Brian.
What's the max of people that can be in here?
We'll find out.
100.
27, 28, 29. All right. Oh, there you go. That's 29 right there. Dang, that's a lot of people. Wow. Oh my God. Well, that's 31. That's 31 people. Look at that. Wow. That's way better than my first
many people
workshop.
who are not part of SSSP.
That's perfectly fine. So I do want to preface before everything that this workshop is being recorded. So if you do not want to show your face, you can go ahead and hide your face. Because this video is being recorded, so we can go ahead and post it on our YouTube. So for anybody who misses it, they can rewatch it. So just prefacing that before I start anything. And we are at 33 people. Wow, look at that. I'll give it another minute and then we'll start. Yeah. So how's everybody? Yeah. Just awkward looking at a screen. Yeah. We could just pretend that we are face to face. I even wore a UTEP shirt today. I'm dedicated. 34 people. Look at that. That's a lot of people. All right. Before I do anything. Ready? Cool. So I guess we'll start. Boom. So I have it like that. So I am gonna ask for everybody who's watching if you could please mute your mic, unless you have a question. That way, there's no echoes or interference or anything. So can you please do that? Also, again, preface again that this workshop is being recorded, so that those who don't have the chance to join can see it later on our YouTube. So, hi everybody, welcome to my workshop. It's gonna be a little awkward because I've never done this before, but okay. So, of course, my workshop's gonna be staying creative. Just a little preface before everything. It's not just being about creative; it's about how you can tie being creative into, homework, your lifestyle, and mental health. And I'll show you a little experiences I've learned. Let's see. Cool. So a little background about myself, because I see some familiar faces, but I also see some I've never seen before. So I'd like to introduce myself. So my name is Brian Gatewood, obviously. I work as the graphic designer and peer mentor at the Student Support Services Program, SSSP. I've been doing photography for 6 years now. I would consider myself being a creative for 3 years now. And I've had pieces of art and photographs that's gone to galleries. And I've also had a piece of art that's gone to competition in Washington. So, and I'm currently doing an undergraduate at UTEP, a double major in communication, media, advertising, and philosophy. So, as you can see, I'm all over the spectrum. So, I know this was supposed to be for in person, but I do want to try to get everybody to do this real quick. It's gonna be a pre-workshop activity. So, can everyone please get a piece of paper, scratch paper? I'll be using a Post-it just because it's right here. Give you guys a couple minutes to open or get a piece, and a pen, obviously. So I'll go and wait a little bit for that. And if you don't, that's perfectly fine. Yeah, you can do it later or something. All right. Can I just get a head nod if you have a paper? Alrighty. Seems like most of you have a piece of paper already. Cool. So what I'm gonna have everybody do is close their eyes for a second. Just close your eyes. On your piece of paper, go ahead and just draw a random line. Just on your random line, anywhere on the paper. I'll do it. I'll go ahead and do it too. Cool. Everybody has a random line. Cool. So now what I'm gonna need you to do for 5 minutes, stare at the line that you have on your paper and picture something. What do you see in that line? Do you see I don't know, maybe a fish? I don't know, maybe an object like a pen, a pencil. Just look at the line, and I want you to draw whatever you see.
Does it have to be?
It could be anything, anything that your mind sees, anything that you see, just anything. See, I'll go ahead and do it with you. I'll go ahead and do a 5-minute timer real quick. This is harder than I think, than I thought it would be. So I know there's 2 people that joined. The 2 people who are joining, you can follow along, or you can go ahead and wait for a little bit. We're currently doing an activity. If you just joined, just get a piece of paper, draw a random line without looking at it, and think of what you see, and draw what you see. Look at you guys all focused and drawing. Again, just don't think too much about it. Just whatever comes into your mind, just let it go. Because mine is honestly really weird. So. Cool. Seeing a couple of you guys looking up. I'll give you guys one more minute. I hope everybody's been drinking their water lately. Stay hydrated. Cool. So it seems like everybody is finished. And that was your 5 minutes. So you don't have to share if you want, but I'll show you mine, how awful this thing is. So I saw this line and I just started like completing the circle I did. And the one thing that came into mind was like a fish. I don't know if you've seen that really ugly face of a fish where it looks like a human, but it's a fish. It's like a blob. I don't know if anybody's seen it. So this is what I did. It looks like that blob. It's not the best drawing, you know, it's not compared to my other pieces of drawing or anything, but just showing you how my mind was thinking, you know. I just completed a circle. I also highlighted the original line. It's a little hard to see, but it's that darker line right here. That was my original line. Can I have a volunteer to show theirs? No one? It's fine. Go ahead.
Okay, like, I don't know. Can you even see it?
Yeah, I can see it a little bit, yeah.
Well,
The
this was
lines.
my first line, so now it's like a bridge,
Yeah.
you know?
That's
Yeah.
way better than mine, that's for sure. Wow.
Yeah.
Cool. So let's see. Let me close this now. Go here. So why did I make you guys do this activity? So the activity, it shows your current level of your creativity right now. You have the level of creativity like mine. I did a ugly fish that had teeth that looked like a human. And then you have another level, like Oscar here, who did a bridge. You know, it could be easier and harder depending on who your level. So I saw a couple of people who finished really quick. Saw some other people that just took their time, you know, just thinking about it. And the one thing I do want to mention and tell everybody that is creativity is a skill. You know, it like all skills, you can practice and it makes perfect. So I always like saying, you know, I play basketball. I'm not the best basketball player, but I always practice, you know, practice and practice and practice. Just like me being a photographer for 6 years, going on 7. At the beginning, I horrible, you know, just pictures of random things. And now I can composite and make these large pieces of prints that can, you know, be sold and things. Also, I like doing these activities just because it increases your brain activity, and it just influences these creative juices that just flow through you that you might not think that you have, but you actually do. So why can it benefit you during school, or in school? So for me personally, it's helped me studying. It helped me study and my overall performance in yes, juices, creative juices. Yes. Um, it's helped me with my overall studying and performance in class. This will be the main discussion in this workshop. And also, I just added these quickly because of the current times that we're in. Just practicing little things like this can help reduce stress and anxiety, especially because I know a lot of us are experiencing with this drastic change. Also, we have it brings out more self-awareness and expression, and that can benefit you in participation in organizations. You know, it can help you with better problem solving. It promotes you being a better thinker. That's one of the good things that kind of helps me being a philosophy major. You have to think a lot, and just being creative helps me with that. Also, it's multidisciplinary, and it improves your ability to focus. And I always like saying that creativity is a prerequisite for innovation. It could be at any major. You can be an engineer. You can be, let's see, name your major, someone random. I don't know. No one.
Mathematics.
Mathematics. There you go. That would be with creativity. You would be falling under the problem solver. I mean, I would never be able to do math just because math is horrible for me. That's why philosophy and media advertising. So it's cool. So I'm gonna give you a little story how it actually helped me in my education. So when I first was a freshman, I didn't know how to function in a college classroom. So I would just like jot everything down the professor was saying and everything on the PowerPoints. Every class, my fingers would be hurting just because of how much I would be typing or writing. And then funny enough, me being a YouTube addict, I started watching a lot more videos, and I started finding how people were studying, and how it seems so flawless for them to be studying and scoring these grades without them having to write so much and spend hours and hours on reviewing what I wrote, until I started like thinking, I'm really good at taking photos. I'm good at drawing, painting, and how can I incorporate that into what I'm doing now? Because education isn't the best fun thing to do. And for me, my escape was photography and painting and drawing. So I wanted to incorporate that to when I was learning. And so I was like, well, maybe I can draw some notes and maybe not type everything that the professor says or everything the PowerPoint says, or it's just trying to find my strategy. I will continue showing my strategy that I have come to now. It's changed probably like 30 times since my freshman year. I think I started with like Cornell notes, which is not the best thing to do. And then I started like, maybe if I test myself to not write any notes and just practice memory. I suggest don't do that because that would be horrible. You won't remember anything at all. Trust me. Let's see, what else did I do? I think I rewrote my notes, which I still do, which is, I suggest you can do it, but I'll explain more. Let's see, out of the, I think 30 people that have joined, does anybody, how does one of you guys take notes? What's your process? If you'd like to share. Meanwhile, I could drink some water because I'm dry mouth over here.
Well, for me, for example, I asked my professor if I can just record the lecture, and then when I get home, I just go back and listen to it, and then just write the important notes. That's
okay.
what I do.
Anybody else? Oh, Cornell notes, Noah. Yes. One more person. You all have mics. I know it.
With me, I like to draw my notes. So like with
Nice.
biology, I draw out the cell or whatever I need to do, and it helps me remember.
I also do that. I like that one. Cool. So let me close this now. So what are these different note-taking strategies that I've mentioned? Oh, I just sat on my ankle for a while and now it's numb. So these are the different strategies that these are the four main techniques that really kind of describe my journey. So first, of course, the Cornell note-taking method. For some people it works. For me, it just absolutely does not work at all. It just feels like I'm regurgitating information and not actually processing it. So if you do take Cornell notes, like I know Noah mentioned that he does, do not get offended by the bullet that says average and simple. For me, it's average and simple for me. You know, I'm not really processing the information. The second, which is probably my top 3 methods, would be mind maps. Mind maps just allows you to draw connections freely without following a structure. Excuse me. And I like that because, you know, my mind is really chaotic when I'm thinking. So it could be thinking about, you know, philosophy terms. I could be thinking about Plato's a theory of something, and then I can automatically draw a connection to another philosopher, and then I can put both the ideas and draw them together. So like that one. And you know, the visual sketch note taking is one of the ones I also do today. It just allows you to draw connections with visual representations of information. So like our example right now, you draw the cells, you connect to what the cell means. Like for me, it's kind of hard for philosophy to draw things just because philosophers are just crazy thinkers and can't really draw everything that they think. But say for like my media communication, media advertising class, we talk a lot about you know, traffic for social medias and generations and how they're connected. So I can easily draw like the Instagram logo and then a percent next to it, and then I know the amount of traffic it has towards a certain generation. And also following this, so if you do either one of these 3 or any other one, I do suggest to look into what I have down here, which would be the Pomodoro technique. It's this one right here. Well, this is fun. I never did this. Okay. So the Pomodoro technique, just in simple terms, it's studying or note-taking in intervals. It's known for 20-minute intervals, so 20 minutes of studying and note-taking, and then 5-minute breaks. As soon as that alarm hits, you just stop stop doing anything that you're doing, and you just get your mind to do something else. So usually what I do is, you know, I'm here retyping my notes as one of my processes, and as soon as I hear that alarm, I stop what I'm doing and then I go onto Instagram or YouTube or, you know, TikTok, since that's popular these days. And doing that, it creates a tension in your mind, and also creating this tension it's forcing your mind to remember these things. Sorry, oh look at that, we have another joiner. Cool. There we go. So these are some visual representations of what I've mentioned. This is the mind map. So usually how I would do it would be, I don't know, drawing this. So it could be P1. Can everybody see what I'm drawing? I don't know if you can see. Yeah. Cool. So usually this would be like philosopher 1, and then I would have like philosopher 2. Oh, this is horrible with the mouse. Oh my gosh, this is wow. And I call myself an artist. So usually they would have their idea or theory, and then they would have their idea and theory. And if they have something in common, then I would connect them, and then I would list what they have in common. So common. An example would be this behind, the image behind. This is way much prettier than what I would do. And then second, of course, would be your Cornell method. Just doesn't really work for me. It's too structured for me to actually understand. And then this last one over here would be the visual or sketches, which it's great. The only downside about it is it takes a lot of time. But personally, I would waste that time because I learn better that way. And look at that, we have another participant. Wow, look at that. People keep joining. I'm surprised. So what have I learned over these years? I learned everybody's style or strategy is different. I watched plenty of minutes of YouTube videos trying to try these different techniques because they're really working with me. Oh, look at that. I have 10 minutes remaining, so we gotta breeze by. I also understood that it takes less effort for others than, for example, me. It takes way more effort. I rewrite my notes, I draw, and then I do mind map to draw connections. It takes way longer for me than other people. I also, I love experimenting. I heard someone speak. What? Anybody have a question? No? Okay. Experimenting is just part of the process. And if you experiment, not only will it, benefit you in your education, it'll also benefit you in your personal mental health. Like I said, it can reduce stress and anxiety. And then my preferred note-taking or studying method and being creative would be a mixture of both mind map and visual notes. So underneath, I mentioned my little process. So I usually take regular notes like the Cornell just because I list everything and I know I'm not going to understand it. So when I get a chance, I rewrite and simplify all the information. And then that's when I go ahead and add the visuals along the important key parts and, draw connections. So how can you become and / stay creative? You can practice simple activities like the activity that we did before. You can practice new hobbies such as painting and drawing. They're really fun. Experiment. I will keep stressing this. Experiment. You will never know until you figure it out. And, someone's not just going to hand it to you. You're going to have to find it for yourself. And the only way to do that is trial and error. I mean, like I mentioned, I went to class one day without taking any notes, trying to remember, and it didn't work out that good. So also set some challenges. Like I quiz myself after every note. Every time I rewrite notes, I quiz myself by just looking at the photos or the images that I've drawn, and try to connect connections. Can't speak. Sorry. And don't think too much about it. Creativity is just a natural thing. It should just come out. And the more you force it, the less it's going to happen. And some last two tips I can give you would be meditation. Meditation is great for letting your ideas flow just because it's the state of calmness and you're not doing anything. It's just you and your mind and your breathing. Also, just for a little kick and funny, would be showers. I don't know about you, but when I shower, I have a lot of ideas come to me just because I'm in the shower by myself thinking. And sometimes the ideas flow faster than the water. So my closing remarks, staying creative is beneficial in many ways. Anyone can be creative. Creativity can help you study and perform better in classes. Creativity is not a skill. Practice makes perfect. Just remember it and don't force it. Do daily practices to increase your creativity. Now that we are stuck at home, you can just spend 5 minutes a day doing an activity like the one that we did, or just paint or draw. And the meditation and showering is honestly a great way to increase your thought process. So Q&As. I'm gonna go ahead and open this for everybody. Does anybody have any questions? Could be in chat, person. No one. Out of the 36 people, no one has a question.
Can you hear me?
I can. Yes.
Hey Brian. So I have a question. Usually when I study really complex topics in school, I find it hard to like find a creative way of finding interest in that subject. How do you go about, like, how do you have your process of finding, I guess, the fun stuff, the interesting stuff in a subject, you know?
So philosophy isn't that interesting. I'll just start off. I mean, it's interesting in some aspects, but trying to rewrite your notes is difficult just because it's a crap ton of philosophers and these random ideas that they have. So usually what I do is I read the notes that I rewrote, and I kind of associate to things that I do now. So say, let's see, trying to think of a philosopher. Well, say philosopher one has an idea of that pandemics cause anxiety and stress, right? I would associate to something that's now, which would be the COVID-19 causing a pandemic and causing anxiety and stress. So what I would do, maybe just in fancy lettering, would do COVID-19 next to the idea, or I would do like the virus drawing of it. So usually what I would do is reread everything and draw connections to something that is happening today. Just because, you know, you're more likely to remember something today than something that's happened like philosophers back in BC or 80. You know, does that kind of answer your question? Let's see chat. All right, cool. Anybody have any other questions? No one. We have 3 minutes. 2 more questions.
Right, can you hear me?
Oh yeah, I can see it. What's up, Celso?
All right. So, I have a question about the flashcards. Do you consider flashcards to be a good study method?
Flashcards are a great study method. Like I mentioned towards the end of the slides, I quiz myself every time after I finish my notes. You know, building that tension, like the Pomodoro technique. Flashcards create tension. Just like the technique I mentioned, it builds tension. You know, quizzing yourself after everything builds tension. And this tension is a fantastic thing because you will be shocked. It just makes you remember a lot more. Like the Pomodoro technique, I did it last semester, kind of like a trial thing. And I did it one afternoon, and then the next day for class, I remembered everything. Not everything, but most of the important things, enough to make me sound like I knew the subject in class. You know, that one guy or girl in class that just knows everything?
Yeah.
I sounded like that person for one day, and it was awesome. It was awesome. So yes, flashcards are fantastic. One more question.
Hi, Brian.
Hi.
I'm sorry I'm late. It's finished?
That's perfectly fine. Actually, I'll mention something at the end, just since you missed it, you can go ahead and rewatch it. But I'll mention that right now. Does anybody have another question? One more about the workshop?
Do you have any books you recommend for staying creative?
Ooh, books. Okay. Well, I'm not much of a reader, even though I'm a philosophy major and you have to read a crap ton. But I would definitely say, since most of us are between the Gen Z and Gen M era, age group, I would suggest looking into YouTube videos. YouTube videos are they're high in interaction and learning between that, and just kind of learning things in YouTube videos is honestly, in my opinion, I don't know about many of you, but it's easier to learn via YouTube videos than books. Just because books you have a lot of lettering versus a video can visually show you. I hope that answered your question. But since we are less than a minute and this thing is probably going to end, and I don't want to end it without you guys getting more information. So if you'd like a copy of this workshop, you can go ahead and email me. Also, you know, if you have any other questions, tips, or tricks, I can get back to you, Noah, about some books. Just go ahead and email me. And, you know, if you missed this workshop, it'll be on YouTube, SSP UTEP. Okay. And I'll go ahead and send another email through our SSSP email just to remind you in case you missed. So I hope you guys enjoyed. You guys will be YouTube famous because it will come out on YouTube. So you guys can wave hi or whatever. But I hope you enjoyed. So if you have any last questions or anything, go ahead and email me. Be gatewood@minors.utep.edu. Cool?
Thank you, Brian.
You're
Thank
welcome.
you, Brian.
Thank you.
I'm
Bye.
going to email you.
Bye.
Thank you.
Stay safe, all right?
Take care.
Bye.
Let's see.
Bye.